I never thought I'd be the girl watching her ex's Instagram stories at 2 a.m., wondering how I ended up here. But that's me, Cassie, 27, and staring at photos of my daughter calling another woman mama. The worst part? I walked away. I literally handed them my life on a silver platter and said, "Here, take this, I don't want it." And now I'm dying inside watching someone else live what was supposed to be my happy ending. 2 years ago, I had everything society tells women they should want: the devoted husband, the cute little starter home with the ridiculous mortgage, and the perfect baby girl with those chunky little thighs and that smile that could melt steel. Morris worked his butt off at his finance job so I could stay home with Emma. From the outside, we were that picture-perfect little family that gets 1,000 likes on Facebook. But inside, I was suffocating. Every day felt exactly the same. Wake up to crying, change diapers, clean spit up off my shirt that I'd already been wearing for 3 days straight, because who has time to do laundry? My conversations revolved around nap schedules and which brand of pureed carrots wouldn't give Emma diaper rash. My body didn't feel like mine anymore. It was just a vessel that had carried a baby, and now existed to feed her and rock her and clean up after her. Meanwhile, my inbox was full of messages from Tiffany, Zoe, and Vanessa living their best lives in Miami. Club openings, boat parties, weekend getaways with guys who had blue check marks on their profiles. "Missing you, babe," they'd caption their group photos, and I'd be sitting there with breast milk stains on my shirt thinking, yeah, I'm missing me too. Morris tried, I'll give him that. He'd come home and take Emma so I could shower, bring me coffee in the morning, tell me I was beautiful when I hadn't washed my hair in a week. But every compliment just felt like a participation trophy for a competition I never signed up for. "Great job surviving another day of monotony. Here's your good wife gold star." I started picking fights over nothing. The way he loaded the dishwasher. How he always bought the wrong brand of wipes. The fact that he could walk out the door every morning and talk to actual adults while I was stuck watching Cocomelon for the 500th time. Looking back, I was punishing him for having what I wanted: freedom. The breaking point came when Vanessa FaceTimed me from some yacht party. There were these girls dancing in bikinis with champagne bottles, and I could hear laughter and music, and suddenly, my living room with its cheerful yellow walls and family photos felt like a prison cell. I hung up and just sat there crying, surrounded by toys and burp cloths, feeling like life was happening somewhere else, and I was missing it. That night, I told Morris I couldn't do it anymore. "I'm too young for this," I said. "I got pregnant at 24, married at 24, became a mom at 25. I haven't lived yet. I haven't figured out who I am outside of being someone's wife and someone's mother." He looked at me like I'd slapped him. "So what are you saying?" he asked, and his voice was so quiet it scared me more than if he'd yelled. "I need space," I said, using that classic line everyone uses when they want out but don't want to sound like the bad guy. "I need to figure myself out. Maybe we rushed into all this too fast." "And Emma?" he asked. "You need space from our daughter too?" I didn't have a good answer for that. There isn't a good answer for that. So I just cried and said I loved her, but I couldn't be the mother she deserved right now. Like that made it better somehow. We agreed. No, that's not right. I decided, and Morris accepted, that I would move to Miami, stay with Vanessa, and find myself. I'd come back for visits, FaceTime regularly, send money when I could. We'd revisit custody once I was in a better place. All these vague promises that let me walk away with minimal guilt. The day I left, Emma was napping. I kissed her forehead and inhaled that baby smell one last time, and there was this tiny voice in my head whispering that I was making the biggest mistake of my life. But then my phone buzzed with Tiffany's message. "Car's packed, babe. Miami won't know what hit it." And I silenced that voice. I told myself this was temporary. I told myself I deserved this. I told myself Emma would understand someday. I was so sure I'd be back in a few months, refreshed and ready to be the mom she deserved. But then Miami happened, and a few months turned into 6, which turned into a year, which turned into now. 2 years later, and I'm still that girl who chose partying over parenthood, watching through a phone screen as my choices play out in real time. My first week in Miami felt like stepping into an alternate universe where I was 21 again. Vanessa's apartment was always full of people coming and going, music playing, plans being made for which club to hit that night. I borrowed her clothes, did my makeup for the first time in months, and when I looked in the mirror, I barely recognized myself. In a good way. No spit up, no dark circles, just glitter eyeshadow and a smile that didn't feel forced. That first night out was everything I'd fantasized about during those long, lonely days of motherhood. VIP section at some club I'd seen celebrities post about, free drinks flowing, men actually looking at me like I was desirable instead of just someone's mom. We danced until my feet were numb, and I didn't think about diapers or feeding schedules once. I felt alive again. I felt like me. I FaceTimed with Emma the next day, nursing a hangover while Morris held her up to the screen. She babbled and showed me her toys, and I made all the right noises about missing her and loving her. But the truth, the awful, selfish truth, was that I was relieved when the call ended and I could go back to my new reality. No responsibilities, no one needing me, just freedom stretching out before me like an endless summer. The weeks blurred together in a haze of beaches and bars and boats. Tiffany knew a guy who knew a guy, and suddenly we were at parties with DJs I'd only heard on the radio, taking pictures with minor celebrities that I immediately posted to make my life look as glamorous as possible. I'd scroll through the likes, secretly hoping Morris would see how amazing my life was without him. But Miami has a way of showing its cracks when you look too closely. The VIP sections got less exclusive, the celebrities less impressive. I started noticing how Vanessa would disappear with different guys and come back with a vacant look in her eyes. How Zoe would cry in the bathroom, then return to the table with another round of shots and a too bright smile. How Tiffany kept talking about her networking that never seemed to turn into an actual job. We were all just pretending our lives were perfect for Instagram, then coming home to empty apartments and emptier bank accounts. My calls with Emma became less frequent. I'd miss the scheduled times because I was sleeping off the night before, or I'd be somewhere too loud to hear her. I started sending gifts instead, expensive toys to compensate for my absence. Morris's texts got shorter, his tone colder. Emma asked for you today felt like a knife to the heart, but not enough to make me book a flight home. Then came the night that should have been my wake-up call. We were at some club promoter's house, the kind of party that starts at 2 a.m. and doesn't end until the sun is up. Someone handed me a drink, and hours disappeared. I woke up on a couch I didn't recognize, my purse gone, my phone dead. When I finally charged it at a corner store, there were missed calls from Morris. Emma had a fever, had been asking for me, had eventually fallen asleep crying for her mommy. I sat on the curb outside that store and sobbed. Mascara running down my face, the glamour of my freedom suddenly looking as cheap and fake as the knockoff purses sold on the beach. I should have gone home that day, but instead, I texted Morris that I was sorry, that I'd call tomorrow, that I was figuring things out. The truth was, I wasn't figuring anything out. I was running away from the hardest thing I'd ever done, being someone's mother, and calling it self-discovery. But all I'd discovered was that the party scene was just as empty as I feared my suburban life had been, only with better lighting and more expensive drinks. 6 months into my finding myself journey, my money was running low, and Vanessa's patience with my couch surfing was wearing thin. I got a job at a boutique selling overpriced dresses to tourists, making just enough to contribute to rent and keep the party going on weekends. My calls home became even more sporadic. Morris stopped sending daily updates and started sending weekly summaries instead, like Emma was a project and not our daughter. That should have been my second wake-up call. Instead, I just felt relieved he wasn't pressuring me anymore. I told myself he understood I needed this time. I told myself Emma was too young to remember my absence. I told myself a lot of things to avoid facing the reality that I was choosing a mediocre escape over my own child. Day after day after day. The universe has a sick sense of humor, I'll give it that. Just when I'd convinced myself I was living this fabulous independent life, reality came crashing down in the form of an Instagram notification. Morris Robinson is in a relationship with Lauren Mitchell. I'd been home exactly twice in 8 months. 2 weekend visits where I'd played the role of fun mom who brings presents and doesn't have to enforce bedtime. 2 weekends where I'd noticed how capable Morris had become, managing Emma's schedule, cooking her favorite foods, knowing exactly which stuffed animal she needed to sleep. He didn't need my help or my advice. He'd adapted to single fatherhood with an efficiency that both impressed and terrified me. During my second visit, he'd mentioned a coworker who'd been helping with Emma sometimes. Just casual references. Lauren had recommended this children's book. Lauren knew a good pediatric dentist. I hadn't thought much of it. Just another mom from daycare or something, I figured. I was wrong. So wrong. I stalked her profile immediately. Lauren Mitchell, 24, kindergarten teacher. Her page was full of inspirational quotes about education and photos of classroom projects. She was pretty in that wholesome, natural way. Curly hair, minimal makeup, genuine smile. The exact opposite of the contoured, filtered faces I'd been surrounded by in Miami. Their relationship announcement photo was them at some fall festival. Emma on Morris's shoulders, Lauren looking up at them both with such obvious adoration, it made my stomach hurt. The caption was simple: "Sometimes life surprises you with exactly what you need." The comments were worse. "You guys are so perfect together. Emma looks so happy." And the one that destroyed me: "Lauren is such a great mom to Emma." With Morris's reply, "We're so lucky to have her." I didn't even realize I was crying until tears hit my phone screen. This stranger was being called my daughter's mom, and her actual mother was sitting alone in a cramped Miami apartment, watching it all happen through social media like some sort of twisted reality show. I called Morris that night, my voice shaking with a mix of anger and fear. "You're letting her play mommy to our daughter? I've been gone for like 5 minutes and you've already replaced me?" His laugh was short and without humor. "You've been gone for 8 months, Cassie. What did you expect me to do? Put our lives on hold while you find yourself in Miami? Emma needs stability. She needs someone she can count on to be there every day, not just when it's convenient." "She has a mother," I said, my voice rising. "Me. I'm her mother." "Are you?" he asked quietly. "Because mothers are present, Cassie. They show up. They don't miss FaceTime calls because they're hungover at the beach." I wanted to scream at him, to remind him that I gave birth to her, that no one could replace me. But the words died in my throat because he wasn't wrong. I hadn't been a mother in any real sense of the word for months. "I'm coming home," I said impulsively. "This weekend. We need to talk about this in person." He sighed, that deep, weary sound I remembered from our worst fights. "You can see Emma, of course, but you should know that Lauren will be there too. She lives here now." The world tilted sideways. "She what?" "We moved in together last month. It's better for Emma to have consistency." I hung up without saying goodbye, then threw my phone across the room hard enough to crack the screen. That night I drank until I couldn't feel anything anymore, raging to anyone who would listen about how my husband had moved on so quickly, how this other woman was stealing my life. No one pointed out the obvious, that you can't steal something that's been abandoned. That weekend visit was a special kind of hell. The house I'd left, my house, had been transformed. Lauren's touches were everywhere. New curtains, different throw pillows, family photos where I'd been replaced. Emma ran to her when she fell down, called her Mama Lauren. Without any prompting, I sat on what used to be my couch, now feeling like a visitor in my own life. Morris was different too, calmer, happier, more confident. He didn't walk on eggshells around me like he used to. He didn't desperately try to make me happy. He had simply moved on and created a new life that functioned perfectly well without me. That should have been my third wake-up call. The moment I realized what I'd thrown away and fought like hell to get it back. Instead, I retreated further into denial. I told myself they were just playing house, that it wouldn't last, that Morris was just trying to make me jealous. I went back to Miami and doubled down on my party girl persona, posting even more aggressively about how amazing my life was. But inside, something had shifted. The clubs felt louder, the people more superficial, the conversations more meaningless. I started noticing families at the beach and finding myself watching them instead of the hot guys playing volleyball. I'd catch myself wondering what Emma was doing at that exact moment, if she was thinking of me at all, if she even remembered I was her mother. My friends noticed the change. You're bringing down the vibe, Tiffany told me one night when I skipped yet another club outing to stay home scrolling through Morris's and Lauren's profiles. I couldn't explain to her that the vibe had been down for months. I was just finally admitting it to myself. The final straw came 3 months later. An engagement announcement. Morris on one knee, Lauren crying happy tears, and Emma right there between them holding the ring box. She said yes, the caption read. Emma and I can't wait to make Lauren officially part of our family. The comments section exploded with congratulations. Among them, my mother, writing, so happy for you three. Lauren, you've been such a blessing to Emma. We can't wait to welcome you to the family. It was like watching my own funeral. Everyone celebrating while I had been written out of the story entirely. I called my mom in a blind rage. How could you? I demanded. She is not Emma's mother. I am. There was a long silence before my mom spoke, her voice gentle but firm. Honey, Lauren has been there every day for the past year. She takes Emma to doctor appointments. She helps with homework. She comforts her when she has nightmares. What would you call that, if not mothering? I would call it stepping into a role that isn't hers to fill. I snapped. My mom sighed. The role was empty, Cassie. You left it vacant. Did you expect your daughter without mothering, just because you decided you weren't ready to provide it? Her words hit me like a physical blow. For the first time, I couldn't find a way to twist the narrative to make myself the victim. I had chosen to leave. I had chosen to stay away. I had chosen everything that led to this moment. I made a mistake, I whispered, tears flowing freely now. I thought I could have both, my freedom and my family waiting for me whenever I was ready to come back. Life doesn't work that way, my mom said softly. Choices have consequences. People move on. Children grow up. After that call, something broke in me. The fantasy I'd been living in, that I could return triumphant whenever I wanted and slot back into my old life, shattered completely. I looked around at the dingy apartment I shared with Vanessa, at the dead-end job that barely covered my bills, at the friends who only wanted me around when I was fun and carefree. What exactly had I gained in exchange for everything I'd lost? I tried one last desperate move. I showed up unannounced at what used to be my house, armed with Emma's favorite toys and a speech about how I was ready to be a mother now, how I wanted to come home. But the family that greeted me wasn't mine anymore. Emma hid behind Lauren's legs, suddenly shy around the woman who had given birth to her. Morris stood in the doorway with his arms crossed, no longer angry, just tired and wary. You can't keep doing this, he told me quietly, while Emma and Lauren played in the living room. You can't drop in and out of her life whenever you feel like it. It confuses her. It hurts her. I'm her mother, I said, the words sounding hollow even to my own ears. Biology doesn't make you a mother, he replied. Being there does, and you haven't been there. He showed me papers, custody papers, giving him primary physical custody. I'd have supervised visitation rights every other weekend, no overnight stays until I could prove stability. You're taking my daughter away from me? I asked, incredulous. His laugh was sad. Cassie, you gave her away. I'm just making it official so she has the security she deserves. I wanted to fight, to scream, to demand what was rightfully mine. But as I watched Emma playing happily with Lauren, completely comfortable in her presence, the fight drained out of me. What kind of mother would disrupt her child's happiness just to soothe her own guilt? I signed the papers. It was the first selfless thing I'd done for my daughter since the day I left. That was 6 months ago. Now I'm back in my hometown, living in a small apartment, working an office job I hate. I see Emma every other weekend for carefully orchestrated playdates where Lauren is always present. The stability figure. The court calls her. My daughter is polite but distant with me, like I'm an aunt she doesn't see very often, rather than the woman who carried her for 9 months. The wedding was last month. I wasn't invited, of course, but my mom sent me pictures. Emma was the flower girl, beaming in a tiny dress that matched Lauren's. There's this one photo that keeps me up at night. Emma looking up at Lauren with total adoration as Lauren adjusted her flower crown. Both of them laughing about something I'll never know. They're trying for another baby now. Morris posted about it on Facebook, all their friends commenting with excitement about giving Emma a little brother or sister. No one mentions that she already has a mother who failed her. That part of the story has been neatly erased, replaced by the fairy tale of Morris and Lauren and their perfect little family. Sometimes I drive by their house, my old house, and sit in my car watching the shadows move behind the curtains. I imagine what they're doing in there. Family dinners, movie nights, all the mundane, precious moments I threw away because I thought they were boring compared to the excitement of Miami clubs. The irony is, I found myself after all. Just not in the way I expected. I found out I'm the kind of person who can walk away from her own child. The kind of person who values temporary pleasure over lasting love. The kind of person who realizes what matters only after it's too late. Tiffany still calls sometimes, inviting me back to Miami. "It's not the same without you," she says. But I know what she means is that they need someone to share the rent, someone to be the designated driver, someone to make them feel better about their own choices by comparison. I stay here instead, in my empty apartment with its view of nothing, working my meaningless job, counting down the days until my next supervised visit with a child who barely knows me. This is my real life now. The consequences of believing I could press pause on motherhood and come back whenever I felt ready. Morris and Lauren are expecting twins. Emma is going to be a big sister. I saw the announcement on Instagram last night, one of those letterboard photos with Emma holding tiny baby shoes, the caption announcing, "Our family is growing by 4 feet." I didn't even know they were trying. No one tells me anything anymore. I closed my laptop and cried until I couldn't breathe. Not just for what I've lost, but for what I threw away. For the life I could have had if I'd just pushed through those hard early days of motherhood. If I'd just asked for help instead of running away. If I'd understood that the mundane moments I was so desperate to escape are actually what make a life worth living. Today is Emma's 4th birthday. I'm allowed to attend the party for 1 hour, with my mom there to supervise. I've bought an expensive gift I can't afford, wrapped it beautifully, practiced my smile in the mirror so no one will see how broken I am inside. I tell myself it's not too late, that someday, when Emma is older, I can explain, that maybe she'll understand and forgive me, that maybe I can still be some kind of mother to her, even if I've lost the right to be called mom. But deep down, I know the truth. Lauren is her mother now, in all the ways that matter. I'm just the woman who visits sometimes, who brings presents, who tries too hard. The woman with regret etched into every line of her face. The cautionary tale. I said I didn't want to be a mom at 25. Now I'm 27 and all I want is what I threw away. A chance to watch my daughter grow up, to be the one she runs to be part of the everyday moments I once thought were so suffocating. Instead, I watch from the sidelines as another woman lives my life, loves my child, builds the family I could have had. And the worst part, she does it better than I ever did. She appreciates what I discarded. She treasures what I'd taken for granted. That's my legacy. That's the consequence of believing I could have it all on my own terms without sacrifice, without compromise. So here I sit, alone in my apartment, scrolling through their perfect family photos, wondering how different things might have been if I'd just stayed. If I'd understood that freedom isn't found in Miami nightclubs or Instagram likes or casual hookups. True freedom is the choice to commit, to love deeply, to show up even when it's hard. Especially when it's hard. I made my choice. Morris and Emma and Lauren are living with the result, and so am I.